Welcome as you're hopping on. We'll begin in just a minute. Today the props are a blanket, 2 blocks, a chair if you have one. We'll use that for final relaxation. And if you even have the luxury of an eye pillow, go for it, grab it, or even just a t-shirt to put over your eyes at the end. We'll take a nice deep rest. It's good to see so many people, not only from all over the US, but from the UK, from Hungary, some of you joining us from your vacation, which is terrific. People here for the manyth time, the very first time, and some of you who've been away for a while and are back. So welcome back. It's great to see everyone. I think we'll get started. So as you're hopping on, again, I'm Cantor Lizzie Shammash, and I'm coming to you from Philadelphia, PA, which is also a Lenape land. This is the online Jewish yoga studio of IJS, and we begin the Shofar project in earnest. Today is the first day of the month of Elul, where we begin to hear the shofar each morning to call us into awakening. We begin to work with Psalm 27. We begin as we do every month with a dark moon, with a great potential, and this month even extra special. So let's get started. We'll do a little bit of warm-up, and then I love being here for the manyth time. Thank you, Marian. We'll begin with a few minutes of warm-up, and then I will share some teaching, some Torah, and then we will continue our practice. I would love to say to you, invite you really into your own body and your own wisdom and your own practice, because as always and ever, I'm only the guide, and you know best what you need. And that's what we're here for, to be able to know what we need, to be able to go inside to the wisdom of our own beloved, our own Dodi. We'll talk about that in a moment too. So come to a seated position. That could be cross legs on your mat, seated with some propping, or it could be in a chair if you prefer that. I think I'll take the chair today. The other thing I wanted to say is after our practice, I'll stay for what I call Kiddush, really Q&A, fielding some questions for about 15 minutes. And that's one of the richest parts of our time together. So I hope you can stay for a little bit after. So come to a comfortable seat. Ground the sitting bones, the base of the pelvis. You can even rock a little bit side to side. For a moment, just feeling the weight of the body, of your being, move from side to side. And then find center, find grounding, find a tall sense of the spine, lengthening the crown of your head upwards as you simultaneously lengthen the tailbone down. And you can choose to keep the eyes open or closed as feels more safe and more comfortable for you. We'll just begin with a couple of shoulder rolls. Just starting to sense that shoulder girdle, a little bit of a yawn with the shoulders. Inhaling as we take the shoulders up towards the ears, and exhaling as we draw the shoulder blades together in the back and down in the back. Inhaling up. And exhaling back and down. Just a couple of times, a slow roll. See what you can let go of right off the bat in your practice. And then once you bring the shoulders down, allow them to pause. Just feel that sense of length in the neck, the shoulder blades resting down and also against the back of your rib cage, supporting the back of the heart. Take an inhale here, and exhale. Take a gaze over the right shoulder. A little movement of the head coordinated with breath, inhaling center. And exhaling as slow as you can go. The gaze over the left shoulder. Inhaling center and exhaling to the side. Take the eyes with you across the horizon. Just starting to land, to arrive in the body, whether it's morning or afternoon or evening, wherever you are. Coming back to center, pause here. Take an inhale here, and exhale, take the right ear to the right shoulder. Just making this sacred delineation, this havdalah between whatever you were doing before and this practice. Separating and delineating some sacred time for yourself. Inhale up through center and exhale the left ear to the left shoulder. Notice any sensation in the right side of the neck, in the right shoulder. And see if you can notice without any judgment just what's going on in this body, in this moment. And inhale, come back up through center. We'll take the hands and rub them together to warm them up just a little bit. Then we'll start with some tapping just under the collarbone. Tapping the ribs. You could also alternatively use a little bit of massage action if you prefer with the finger pads. Tapping or massaging this whole upper quadrant, starting to move down from the collarbone. Starting at the sternum, moving outward. Almost as you're tapping the lung into some aliveness, starting to open the breath. And then go to the other side, find the middle of the collarbone there, the internal notch here. Just tap or massage under the other side of the collarbone. From the inner collarbone out towards the shoulder. And then going down, starting at the sternum, moving outward. Waking up, just like the shofar wakes us up. Starting to wake up the body, wake up the skin. Bringing a little awareness, a little blood flow into this area. And then both sides together. Then take these fingertips to the sides like the inseam of your shirt and tap gently the sides of the ribs. And if you're a ticklish person, be careful and don't overstimulate yourself. Just a little bit of waking up, going down the side of the rib cage, down the sides. And then come also inward, front of the rib cage. And then you might also go to the back. You can take little fists with your hands also, or use the inner blade of the hand. Tap the back of the rib cage. And then come to pause, release the hands. Simply notice how you feel. Notice any sensation in the torso. Feeling the breath rise and fall. Feeling the breath going in and going out. Filling and emptying of the lungs. Expansion and contraction of the rib cage. Rise and fall of the belly. See if you can begin to anchor the attention of your mind to the breath coming and going. And then we'll take the hands down by the sides. We'll just begin to coordinate the arm movement with the breath. So as we inhale, bring the arms out to the sides and up. You can extend fully through the fingertips or keep a bend in the elbows if that works better for your shoulders and your arms. And then as we exhale, bringing the arms down, keep them in your peripheral vision. You don't send the arms back too far. In your own breath, inhaling up. And exhaling as you come down. So your breath may not match the length of my breath. Keep it going in your own flow, inhaling up and exhaling down, and see what you notice. What do you feel through the rib cage, through the shoulders, through the front, the sides, and the back of the torso? And then the next time you exhale, come to land, you can rest the hands wherever you like. And feel free, again, to keep the eyes open or closed. I'll just share a little bit of teaching. So in this month of Elul, we're really in this heightened place, again, calling ourselves into waking up into our fullest life, our fullest expression, into alignment, a word we use a lot in yoga, into alignment and into realignment on a physical level, an emotional level, and calling ourselves into moral alignment as well, aren't we? To remember our true nature, our purpose, and a greater call to tikkun olam, to the work that we're doing in our communities and in this world to repair. The month of Elul is spelled in Hebrew Aleph Lamed Vav Lamed, and you may well know there's an acronym that the rabbis came up with, Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li, to use the verse from Song of Songs, Shir HaShirim. I am my beloved's and my beloved is mine. Ani Lidodi Vidodi Li, spelling out this month of Elul. So why do we need that reminder? Why do we need that reminder during this month? My teacher and wonderful teacher of so many of us, Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg, she suggests that in order to do this very deep work of teshuvah in this month, this very deep going within ourselves to come into truth and into reckoning with ourselves, we need a sense of the beloved, of the Dodi, both the internal and the eternal beloved, Sheila tells us. And I just love that. The internal and the eternal beloved in this month of Elul are partnering ourselves, partnering from God as we know God, divine source, the unconditioned one. So this Elul at IJS, we're taking a focus on Shemitah, on the 7th year injunction of rest, resting the earth in our agriculture, leaving the fields fallow. This Shemitah is called Shabbat Shabbaton, Sabbath of Sabbaths, right? A sabbatical, a seventh, after the 7th year, a whole year of sabbatical. So an expansion of the consciousness of non-doing that we explore every week on Shabbat. Shemitah is about the earth. It's about remission of debt. It's a reset. It's a full reset. So we can look at how we use resources, how we consume materials. And I love this term, rest and release. Rest and release. It's a release of our control over the planet, other human beings, and ourselves. From systems, from habits of mind and body, and behaviors of oppression. It's a grand release, and as we gear up for this coming year of Shemitah in our calendar, we're going to use Elul at IJS to learn about Shemitah. So each week you receive, and hopefully you received yesterday in your inbox, a piece from one of our teachers. beautiful, beautiful text and practice ideas and questions for reflection. So I hope you'll take the time as this week unfolds to go through the teaching from Rabbi Jonathan Slater, which was just gorgeous. I want to share with you just a little bit of what he has said to us. Shemitah shall be a time of rest for the earth. All efforts to coax the earth to produce for our benefit are to be released. The land is to lie fallow, its natural produce ownerless and free for use by anyone. The owner of the land cannot claim first use, and even animals are given free rein to eat from the fields left fallow. Indentured servants are to be granted their freedom, and debts are released. So he says the first step in this process is to follow the instructions in Deuteronomy chapter 15, verse 2. Regarding the matter of Shemitah, stop your customary behavior and let it go. Stop your customary behavior and let it go. Stop your habits, stop your patterning, stop your ingrained automatic impulses, which is our work in yoga, isn't it? Every time we come to the mat. In this coming year, we can observe Shemitah simply by stopping what we are doing without reflection or consideration and allowing the world to present itself to us to be known anew. Wow, right? To take a new perspective, i.e. to cultivate mindful awareness. In mindfulness meditation, we become aware through experience that the breath simply arises. We're kept alive through myriad processes and forces over which we're largely not in control. Resting in the moment of aliveness, renewed over and over, we can cultivate awareness of our lives as a gift. And so that really is our practice here in yoga, isn't it? Stop your customary behavior and let it go. Stop the mindlessness and allow movement, ourselves, these bodies which we don't own, we don't possess, allow ourselves to be presented to ourselves anew, and then we can take that outward. So in our practice today and this month and through this year, I want to present these questions. Where to ask ourselves, where can I soften? Where can I profoundly release? What is it at this time that needs letting go, that needs a profound letting go? Is it a mental pattern that's established itself, a mental holding that's made itself also a physical holding? What needs letting go? And how can we connect to and effect that process of letting go? So we'll take kind of a soft approach to our practice today and throughout this month. Where can you soften? So we're going to start with cat-cow with some curling and arching. And you can take this on all fours, or if you're more comfortable, you can take it in the chair. I'll model it here in the chair. If you're on all fours, the wrists are directly under the shoulders and the knees are directly under the hips. If you're seated, you're tall and grounded in your sitting bones. And we start with an inhale, allowing the belly to drop. If you're on all fours, widening the collarbones, moving into an arch, lifting the gaze, shining the collarbones forward. And as we exhale, curling, drawing the belly to the spine, letting the upper back widen, letting the head drop. Back and forth like this, inhaling and arching. Exhaling and curling. Letting the tailbone and the crown of the head drop and move toward each other. So make a C curve with the spine. Taking this back and forth slowly, investigating slowly. How can I make it softer, slower, and easier for myself? Noticing where the breath flows and where the breath glitches. Seeing if you can even that out a little so that there's no place without breath and without movement, no stopping, a slow, even flow. Inhaling as you arch and exhaling as you curl. And then as you're ready, coming back to neutral. We're going to thread the needle. And if you're sitting in the chair, it'll mean taking your arm across your chest. If you're on all fours, we're going to inhale and take the right arm up and out to the right side. And then as we exhale, palm facing up, threaded behind the left, extending, lengthening through the fingertips, laying down all the way to the shoulder, letting the head turn with it. Taking those left finger tops, tenting them and pressing into the floor to help spin the rib cage a little more. And then you can take this wherever you like. You can stay here and just roll a little bit back and forth, feeling into sensation in the top of the shoulders, between the shoulder blades. What do you sense? You might want to take the left arm up towards the ceiling or internally rotate it and take it around the torso. Take hold of the right thigh. Lots of options. You choose what's right for you today, in this moment, in your practice. Imagine that your breath is inhaling right into the center space of the shoulder blades. What would it be like to take rest between your shoulder blades? And then as you're ready, slowly starting to roll out, press into the left hand to come on back up to neutral. And we'll take the other side, inhaling left arm out and up, exhaling palm facing up, extend the fingertips, lay that left arm down. Tent those right fingertips, pressing into the right hand. Start to take maybe a little more twist to the right. Bring your breath with you. And just like the other side, seeing which option feels just right for you today. And if you're sitting in the chair, you're taking your left arm across the body, holding it with your right hand. Just pausing, breathing, feeling sensation, feeling the possibility of freedom in this body. As you're ready, coming back, pressing into the right fingertips, coming onto all fours again. And we'll take our blocks, if you have your blocks, take them to either side. You might want to place a blanket under your knee. We're going to come into a low lunge. The left knee is back and the right knee is forward. Good. And then you want to slide that back knee back a little bit so you're not directly on the kneecap. I'm using my blocks on the highest height. You might want them lower or just hands to the floor. You'll see what works for you. Just feeling your way into this low lunge, pulsing the hips forward and back a little bit. Feeling sensation build in that left thigh and hip flexor. Lengthen the tailbone, draw the lower belly in and up so you have a nice integrity through the pelvis, through the low back of making length, never crunching as you allow that left thigh to come forward. Good. You can stay here if you want to come a little further with me. You'll come out of this, come to square. Inhale and lift that left arm up. And then as you exhale, we're going to take a twist. Couple of options. You can take an open twist like this. You can take the left arm to the outside of the right thigh. Pause here, hand on the block. You could come a little further towards the armpit. You could take the hands into prayer, start to come more into the twist and the lunge simultaneously. So just seeing where you want to be in this twist and lunge combo platter. Dive really deep into sensation, what is being asked for, and where can you release. And then as you're ready, come on back. And we're going to change sides. So right knee comes back, left foot steps forward. And again, see that you're not directly on that right kneecap. We'll start with a little pulsation. In and out. You might notice that the breath naturally begins to line up with the movement, or you might intentionally take it so that you inhale as you send the hips back and you exhale as you send the hips forward. And once again, renewing the integrity of this practice by lengthening your tailbone and drawing the lower belly in and up to support the low back. Shine the collarbones and the heart forward. And you could just stay right here and continue to play with this, or if you'd like to work your way into the twist, you're going to come up to square. Inhale the right arm up. And then exhale, take a twist. And again, maybe an open twist. You might take both arms out to the sides. You might take the right hand down to the outside of the left knee. You might take the elbow outside the knee. You might take prayer. And if you're coming into this twist, lengthen through the crown of the head. Right? Keep open in the chest. You can allow the thumbs to come in towards the sternum and help lift the heart. Notice how it's different. One side to the other. Notice if you have any sense of hardening, of striving, can you soften? And then as you're ready, come on out. Bring the left knee back. If it's available to you, tuck your toes and sit the buttocks back to the heels. Get a little stretch for the bottom of these feet. Breathe. Pause. Feel sensation building. And then as you're ready, come on out. Take a little pitter-patter. It's really good for the bottom of the feet, helping them awaken, feel alive. And now we're going to come to lie on the back. You might want to pad up your mat. You might want to put the blanket under your head. Possibilities. See what you need. Lying down fully onto the mat. If it's available to you, send your arms behind you, above you, long. Make an X with legs as wide as the mat and arms as wide as the mat, extending long. If that's too much for the shoulders, you might just keep the elbows bent and arms shoulder height. It's finding some way to just stretch, yawn, wiggle, to kind of move through the sides of the body a little bit for a moment. Finding that length, and then bending the knees and placing soles of the feet on the floor, bringing the arms back. We're going to take the right knee and hug it into the body, holding either behind the thigh or onto the shin, whichever you prefer. Exhale as you bring the knee toward you. And if you'd like, you can lengthen the left leg long. So either bent or long, either one, you'll get a little more opening in the front of the thigh, in the hip flexor if you lengthen. If you're having any low back strain or pain, definitely continue to keep that left knee bent. You can rock the right knee a little bit from side to side, out to the side, back through center towards the rib cage. Waking up the synovial fluids, the hip joint fluid. Where can you soften? This sense of shmita, this sense of letting be, right? Even we can have that kind of consciousness even as we move the body, right? A sense of letting go and relaxation, repose within the pose. Extend the right foot up towards the ceiling, long. Clasp the hands behind the right thigh, and we'll start to point and flex through that right foot. Opening the top and the bottom of the foot, giving some movement to the ankle. And then taking circles slow in one direction and the other direction. And then you might lengthen the leg like you're standing the foot on the ceiling. Really allow the back of the right thigh to drop into the clasped hands. Let the thigh drop away from the body. Focusing on your exhales. And then bend that right knee, bringing it down. If the left leg was long, bend the knee, take the foot back towards the body and cross the right leg over, the right ankle over the left thigh like a number 4. Take your right hand to your right knee and start to move the knee in toward you and out, just like you were opening and closing a gate slowly. And just notice how this affects the outer hip, the low back against the mat. What do you notice? Is there anywhere that you could release? And then pause that action. Keep a flex on that right foot as you draw the left leg, the whole figure 4 in towards the body. Take the hands, thread them around the left thigh and clasp behind the thigh as you draw this whole thing in. And if that's like, no way, that's too much in the right hip, just leave that left foot on the floor. That might be plenty. You can also come to sit up and do it like this. Might give you a little bit. Propping up on your forearms. If you want a little more juice out of this, take that right forearm and press it into the right thigh. Pressing the leg away from you on the right, even as you draw the left thigh in. That'll give you a little more if you want to go in that direction. And then as you're ready, release. And bring both soles of the feet back to the floor. Take a little windshield wiper action, leaving the feet where they are and taking the knees side to side a little bit. So the feet are as wide as the mat. And the knees are just waving. Small motion, side to side. Slow it down. And then pause, come back to center, and we'll switch sides, taking the left knee in towards the chest. Again, clasping behind the thigh or on the shin. And if you like extending the right leg long, you might look up if you've extended the leg. Just look at the line of your body and see, where is my right leg in space? Is it in line with the hip? Is the foot in line with the hip? Or am I kind of off center, either in the lower body or the upper body? You can correct that. Sometimes we can't correct it just by feel. We have to look with our eyes. Soften. Feel the earth below you. Feel the mat, the earth receiving you. So part of inviting in this deep sense of rest is to slow down. Slow it way down. Our movements, our breath pattern. And then extend that left leg up towards the ceiling. We'll begin with some pointing and flexing. I apologize, they're jackhammering the sidewalk right outside my house. It always has to happen, of course, during our yoga time, so if you're hearing that, I'm sorry. And we can take circles with the foot, opening up the ankle. And then extending that leg long, as if you could place the sole of the left foot on the ceiling. Let the thigh really drop away from the body into your hands. And then bend the knee, bend the right knee as well. Place the sole of the foot on the floor. Take the left ankle across to the right thigh, number 4, and draw that whole number 4 in towards the body. Take threading with your hands around the right leg, or prop up on your forearms. And draw the whole structure in. Keep a flex on that left foot. Just notice, do I want less or do I want more? What small choice here would allow me to soften further? How could I make a choice towards softening, towards releasing, towards letting go? And then as you're ready, release the whole thing. Take both knees in towards the chest and give yourself a hug. You might want to rock it side to side, gently. Just pulling yourself in, drawing in, massaging out the lower back in any way you need. Then we're going to come to set up for final relaxation by grabbing the chair, if you have a chair. And the blanket will go under your head, little support for the back of the head, for the alignment of the neck and head. And we're going to take the lower legs to the chair, all the way up to the back of the knee, so that the whole calf, the whole lower leg is onto the chair. Move the hips away such that you have a bit of a length angle on that upper thigh bone. And then if you have something to place over your eyes, if you have an eye pillow or a t-shirt or piece of fabric or something, you can place it over your eyes. A little bit of weight, a little bit of darkness. Allow the palms to face up. And let the outer shoulders move down towards the floor. Tuck your shoulder blades under you like wings. You might move side to side to do that. Take a nice deep inhale, and as you exhale, drop the jaw. Allow there to be some whispering of the sound ha as you exhale. A couple more like that. Inhaling. Exhaling, dropping the jaw. Letting go. And one more time. Inhaling through the nose. And exhaling, dropping the jaw. Shmita consciousness, just letting be, dropping into the internal and the eternal beloved. Allow the breath to deepen. Wiggle the fingers and the toes. Take a stretch and an opening. If you have time or desire to stay in relaxation for longer, please go ahead. I invite you. You can stay. If you're coming out and resuming your day, and begin to hug the knees toward the chest. And take your right arm up overhead and roll over to your right side into a fetal position so that your head is supported by your right arm as a pillow. Pause here and breathe. Take your left hand to the floor. Begin to press into your left hand, long spine to come up. And joining also by pressing into your right hand as you start to come up. And find a comfortable seat once again. Up on a blanket or block or the chair. Taking a moment or two together to integrate our practice. And begin to transition back out of this sacred space and community together into our day, whatever you've been doing, your day, your evening, wherever you're headed. You might take one hand to the belly and one hand to the heart, a little form of a self-hug as a khatima, as a seal on our practice. Feeling the chest and belly move into the hands on the inhale and away from the hands on the exhale. May we welcome together this month of Elul with open hearts, open eyes, open will. We begin to bring our attention to this idea of Shemitah, of sabbatical, rest, release, freedom, reboot. In a very profound way, we begin with ourselves. We begin with ourselves so that we can move out this generosity, this compassion in wider circles to our communities, to the world, to do our work. And bow your head to your heart. And release your hands. Allow the eyes to flutter open as you lift the head. So Chodesh Tov, everyone. Thank you so much for practicing. Thank you for showing up for yourselves, for the community. It's just wonderful to see all of you. And I'll stay for about 15 more minutes for any Q&A. And there's no question too small or too simple or too embarrassing. You can really ask anything about